Hello, beautiful people. Sois grandes. You are big people. Today I'm talking about frequencies, where we need to be, where we are now, and also I'm going to talk about Moroccan hammems. I'll tell you all about it on the other side. So I don't know if you recall me talking about the early days, the old times, when the emissaries first came through. What would happen to me was I would go into these moments of what I would call, I don't know, reverie, like weird feelings. Some people would classify them as downloads or whatever. The emissaries explained that what they needed to do with me personally was they needed to raise my frequency up so that I was in a better place to be able to offer these messages, their messages, okay? And so they said I was kind of, wherever I was, they needed to keep constantly bringing me to the top end of the frequencies, okay? And that they continued to do that. However, at the beginning, there were some really big shifts that were leaving me at sometimes. I felt a little bit sort of not earthbound. I felt a little bit outside of my body. Didn't know if I was dreaming or if it was awake or whatever. It was very bizarre. It was nice. I liked it. But then I prefer to be where I am now, where I don't have those. So I was asking them about where we are compared to where we need to be. Right? And because I work in this way of I like percentages. I like to know where I am with percentages. The emissaries do give me percentages, but they always do that a little bit reluctantly, because I think they don't work in percentages. I think I do. Anyway, I said to them, all right, so where we want to get to in terms of frequency and where we are. If we said that where we need to get to is 100%, where are we now? What frequency are we at now? And they said, well, we don't like to talk in percentages. However, if we were to say, we would say it's probably about 75%. So 3/4 of the way. Okay? So I said then to them, okay then, why don't we just go straight up to the 100%? What's the delay? We're all desperate for it. Well, certainly I am. Let's get up there. And they said, with a bit of laughter, because they know that I kind of ask for things that aren't possible. And they said this: it will happen when it's supposed to happen, and it won't happen before it's supposed to happen. Okay? They said that the idea is that the frequency has to increase little by little, because were it to go from 75 to 100, what would happen is, they said, it would be like people would suddenly feel that they were on an LSD trip. They would be, I suppose, like I was at times, just thinking, what the hell is going on? And they said it would cause a lot of anxiety, a lot of upset, a lot of mental breakdown. That's what they said. So it's not possible to do it that way. It must be done incrementally, right? Much to my chagrin. Okay. They reminded me that people, we need to normalize things, and they talked about this before, about as the changes come, we'll normalize that change, and then once that's normalized, then the new change. So we'll have these periods of big shift and then normalization and then another big shift. And they made me think about when I was in Morocco. And when I was in Morocco, I had some wonderful experiences, and one of them wasn't going to a Moroccan hammam. Now, a hammam in Morocco is a sauna. It's a Moroccan sauna. I think it's more than just in Morocco. They're in other countries as well. What's it like? Well, I was taken there by my head mechanic, who said, I think you need to have a hammam experience. So I went there rather foolishly with a hangover in the morning after an extremely heavy night on the booze. Okay, when I used to booze, I didn't drink, I used to booze. And so I went into the hammam. Okay, you strip off into your underpants. Most people were in the underpants. I put my swimming trunks on. And what happens is you go in to the first room. There's a room, and it's kind of like, okay, it's warm, it's wet. There's like you're standing in. I mean, it's in terms of cleanliness, it wouldn't be up there with, sterilized, cleaning your hands with alcohol type of cleanliness. No, it's kind of you're sharing a lot of fluid with a lot of people, men, in underwear that looks like it mightn't be fresh. Let's put it that way. The underwear looked like when they went out, they were going to put that in the wash, and it was due. So I was sitting there in the first room in this like shallow, warm, tepid water, and I was thinking, well, it's okay, but nothing spectacular. After sitting there with my head mechanic for about 10 minutes, he said, right, now it's time to move into the next room. So we walked into the next room, which was blocked off, and that was hotter. There was still a lot of questionable water lying on the floor, but we sat down and against the wall was warm, and it was quite hot. It was quite hot. And there was a lot of steam going on, and I was kind of sitting there thinking, ooh, yeah, this is a bit more like it, isn't it? So I was sitting there, and we sat there for about 10 minutes as well. And then he said, right, now it's time to go into the next room, the third room. So we walked into that. Well, it was like walking into the doorway to hell. It was so hot. It was steamy. The water that I was stepping in was just barely bearable with my feet. It was so hot. Steam everywhere. Couldn't see a bloody thing. Okay? And I could barely breathe. But because I had gone through the stages, then it was more tolerable. And I sat down and we sat there, and then, just as an aside, has nothing to do with this metaphor, this analogy, but then he said, would you like a Moroccan massage? And I said, why not? Yeah. Foolish. If he asked me now, I would say, no thank you. I love massages. I love them. I love people putting their hands on me and giving me, and I do like a hard massage. I don't like, people going, no. If you're going to do it properly. Let's get some deep tissue, movement, etc. A Moroccan massage isn't that. What it is a man who comes and sits next to you. He's just got a little taparrabos, a little, like a Tarzan type of little thing covering his bits and pieces. And he puts his body against yours and he starts to pull in opposite directions all of your limbs. So he kind of starts by pulling your arms back to where they shouldn't go. This is the important bit. He was pulling my limbs to places that they hadn't been in before, positions that it had hitherto been unknown, and that wasn't particularly nice. Fortunately, my body had kind of warmed up, so I was more supple than I would have been if I just walked straight in. But that wasn't it. I've always had a problem, and I'm working on it every day. I'm working on it now, that I can't sit cross-legged. I can't go into a squat. I fall over. So I haven't got that kind of stretch. So I can't sit like the Buddha. Okay? I can do lots of bendy that way. I'm very good at bending that way. But I'm not good at opening my legs. I would struggle. No, I'm not going to even say that. But good job, I'm a man. Okay? I can't open my legs very much. But I am working on it. So he said, lie on your back. Oh, well, he didn't. He said something in Arabic, and my mechanic said, lie on your back, he says. So I lay on my back. He lifted my knees up in the air, put my heels together, put his hands on either knee like this. Now I thought, he's going to start doing, like a pushy. He's going to realise that there's not a lot of movement there, and that's all. No, that wasn't what he did. What he did was he went, every time he was doing it, by the way, he would use this exhalation of breath, like a, and that just made it more intense, made it worse. But he stood up. He had both hands on either knee. He stood up and he jumped up in the air. Literally, he jumped off the ground and then landed all of his weight on my knees. So my knees did actually touch the ground with a resounding crack, like a crack I haven't heard. The pain was immense. It was immense. My legs weren't made to go in that position, and he forced them into that position. Well, my mechanic was laughing his head off. He obviously knew what was coming. I didn't, and I screamed. Right? Now, we're in a room with lots of men in underwear, macho men, okay? Arabic men, macho men. And I screamed like a woman. And that's no offense to women. I'm just talking about the pitch that I achieved with my voice. I screamed like a woman. And everybody looked at me and laughed and all of that. And they were laughing and I was crying. Fortunately, with the steam and the water, nobody could see. Nobody could see that I was crying, but I was crying in pain. Anyway, that was it. We spent a little while longer there and I said to him, I think I need to leave now, if you don't mind. The very first thing as I came out was I was sick. Like, sick, I think it was more to do with my hangover than anything else, but I was also sick with my body saying something happened in there that shouldn't have happened. We were put into a position, he put us in a bad position, yeah, a difficult position. So that's the story of the Hammam. One-time experience. Would I go back? Yes, I would, but I wouldn't have a massage, okay? Not until I've finished doing my exercises so that I can open my legs properly. But the emissaries made me remember that because that's what they were saying about this normalization. If we went to 100%, it would be like walking into the hottest sauna with no ease at all. It would be overwhelming. You know, you've heard the stories of the people who do these sweat lodges and like they die, okay? Quite a few people died. In fact, I remember seeing a documentary of the guy, one of the people who appeared on The Secret. Remember The Secret? And one of the guys was there. Well, he went on with the fame of The Secret. He went on to do sweat lodges, and he was doing them, and somebody died in the sweat lodge of overheating. Okay, got a little bit carried away with himself, and he lost all of his mojo after that, and he was very, very sorry. Normal, isn't it? So that's what would happen. That's what the emissaries are saying. If we go up to 100% like that, that's what will happen. People will collapse. And so it has to be slowly but surely. And remember, if we're at 75%, that's an average. Not everybody's at 75%. Some people are beyond that. Yeah. But it doesn't matter. We can't just be jumping up there. And so that's why we need a bit of patience. We really do need a bit of patience. We need to understand that we can't just jump up. And everybody, you know, how long have we been saying it? Why doesn't it just happen? Yeah? Why doesn't Jesus just come on that white stallion and change everything? And why doesn't this happen? Because that's not how it's meant to happen. It's gradual, it's step by step, and we are part of the process. We aren't the victims of this process. We are the perpetrators of this process. It's our increase that's going to make this change, and I'm going to come on to that in a further video. Okay, so anyway, so that the resume of all of that is, if you go in a hammam, don't have a massage unless you can open your legs, and even then you're not going to like it. And also, be patient. It's going to happen little by little. Every day we are better. Every day we're shifting. It's not just every day, it's in every second that's passing, we're shifting. And so all we need to do is have patience and just hang on a bit, and do your stretching exercises, okay? Because we're going to have to be pretty flexible up in the front end. At the 100%, we're going to be able to have to do contortions and everything. All right, I love you all, and I'll speak to you all later. Bye-bye.